Hi, I'm Troy Evans, and as always, this video is for my daughter and my twin boys, where I can share some of my wisdom and accumulated knowledge from over the years, but hopefully you get something out of it too. If you do, please take the time to like and subscribe as it helps the channel out. So one of the things I wanted to make sure I shared with my children, because I hope that they become entrepreneurs one day, is 15 books every entrepreneur should read. And these are all books that I've read. Fortunately, I've been on a journey to become a little bit more healthy. And what that involves for me is walking a lot. Well, while I'm walking, I have a lot of time to conduct business calls, but I also have a lot of time to consume audiobooks. I think Audible is one of the greatest inventions of the past decade. And so I consume about a book a week. The first book, and without a doubt my favorite book about being an entrepreneur, is The Millionaire Fast Lane by MJ DeMarco. Now, it's not one of those books that was put out by a big publisher, so it doesn't have as much press as some of the other books on the list, but it is without a doubt the best book I've ever read on being an entrepreneur, and I highly recommend everyone read it. You won't be sorry. I've actually read it 3 times. And I think I'm gonna actually read it once a year because it is something that I continuously gain new information from. The second book is $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. I think Alex is one of the business gurus of our time, and I think he has a lot of valuable information that you can gain from not only his book, but his podcast, so make sure you check him out. But $100 Million Offers really focuses on how to create an offer that's going to be a no-brainer for someone to buy from you. So very critical for entrepreneurs. He also has the number 3 book on the list, and these are not in any particular order, which is $100 Million Leads, which shows you how to generate leads so you can make a sale. The 4th book I want to recommend is The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. That book is very motivational and shows you the amount of effort and attention you have to put into being a successful entrepreneur. I think it's one of the things that people underestimate the most when they are approaching entrepreneurship is how much effort and focus it takes. The 5th book is Flip the Script by Oren Klaff. Great book on how to sell high-ticket items, and if you are an entrepreneur, selling is mandatory. There's no way around it. You are going to have to generate revenue, and you can hire someone to do it for you, but normally you're going to need to be able to do it yourself as an entrepreneur, and then maybe expand to hiring other people. The 6th book is The Answer by John Assaraf. Excellent book that talks a lot about why the universe works the way it does, kind of the laws of business, and I highly recommend it because it's going to allow you to attract business to your company. Number 7 is Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. It's the Nike story, and it's an excellent motivational story that talks about how success happens over years, not overnight, and also how you're gonna have to be able to weather a lot of ups and downs in business. The 8th book is The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. It's a short read, only about 30 to 45 minutes if you are doing it on audiobook. So it's one of those books that I read 3 or 4 times a year, maybe once a quarter, just so I can stay grounded and understand how I'm leaning into the 7 spiritual laws of success. The 9th book is Delivering Happiness by the late Tony Hsieh. I had the fortune of working with Tony when I lived in Las Vegas. On brief encounters, he used to sponsor a lot of startup business, what they call jellies, in Las Vegas, and it was really fun getting to know him. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago, but it's an excellent book on how to create company culture and grow a business from the ground up. The 10th book is 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. It's an excellent book that shows what you really need to focus on a business to move in the right direction, and it's one of those books that are always in the top 5 on business lists. Number 11 is Die with Zero by Bill Perkins. It's a relatively new book to the recommendation list, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I got to know Bill through word of mouth, actually, playing poker. He's a high stakes poker player. I'm not quite a high stakes poker player, but a lot of people in the same circles that we run in recommended the book to me, and it really changed my outlook on money and how I spend my time. So I highly recommend that book. Book number 12 is not necessarily for entrepreneurs. It's more in the corporate world, but it's about dealing with people, and that's Radical Candor by Kim Scott. It's an excellent book that tells you how to have tough conversations with people that work for you. So as an entrepreneur, you will eventually need to have these conversations, but it also helps a lot if you're in corporate America, because one thing that I was guilty of was avoiding tough conversations and not giving the true constructive criticism that needed to be given in order for everyone to be successful. Excellent book, highly recommended. Number 13 is I Can't Make This Up by Kevin Hart. It's actually one of my top 5 favorite books. So once again, this book is not in any particular order, but it is a hilarious book, especially if you're listening to the Audible as Kevin Hart reads it himself. The thing that I was most impressed with were the numerous lessons that he learned throughout his journey to becoming a successful comedian that apply to all walks of life and all stages of business. So I highly recommend listening to the book. It's a funny read or funny listen, and you can learn a lot from the lessons that he's learned, and I see why he is so successful. Number 14 is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Really excellent book that has 4 recommendations for how to approach your life and business. I try to live by these agreements all the time, and sometimes I come through and sometimes I fall a little bit short, but it continues to remind me of how important it is to be impeccable with your word, to always do your best, and things of the like. So make sure you check out The 4 Agreements. Number 15 is The One Thing by Gary Keller. I recommend this book because it talks a lot about how you need to really focus on one thing at a time and be comfortable with letting some of the small things go. It's something that I struggle with or have struggled with and try to incorporate into my day-to-day business. And when I do, I find myself to be more successful. And I've got one bonus book for you. That's Giftology by John Ruhlin, which really talks about how you can utilize gifts to build relationships and grow your business. This is something that I live by. I actually started a business once on being able to automate your gift giving process, but I'm a big believer in giving more than you receive, and Giftology is an excellent book that shows you how. Hopefully you enjoyed these recommendations for the 15 books that I think every entrepreneur should read. Maybe you've read some of them yourself. If you think you have some other books that should be on the list, please leave some comments down below. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.